Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series where we believe the right man in the right place at the right time can make all the difference. Yes, that's a Half-Life reference. Have I played Half-Life? No. I have it downloaded on my computer. I can easily run it, and I really want to play it. Why haven't I played it? Today we're going to be looking at Redo of a Healer, the Season 1 finale. The time you've all been waiting for, and the time we've, Honestly, there's not been a series that's gotten me more views than this. And it's kind of weird. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into it. It's kind of weird being at the end of this. I believe a Season 2 has been, announced, or is at least being talked about. I don't know if another season is coming, but if it does, expect me to cover it, because I've dug myself into this hole, and I might as well dig till I find diamonds. Okay, Redo of a Healer, season finale or the first season, or episode 12, if you will. Well, starts directly off with the opening, and kind of cuts immediately to where the last episode left off, where the guards that were under the control of Norn were peacekeeping, or as a lot of people have referred to it as racial genocide, have been stopped in their tracks by this large astral projection of Freya in her previous flare face, as she kind of just shows off that she's still alive and is saying, hey, you know how you were told that these things are evil? They're fucking not. And you guys should stop. And then all the people are silent, just watching the whole damn thing as people start coming out of their houses as spears start being dropped. How did that go, by the way? Because a lot of them dropped their spears, and I'm pretty sure all of them stopped attacking all the demons and demi-humans. But, a lot of their swords and spears were covered in blood. Please tell me, did they go to jail for war crimes? Did they get... What were the repercussions? I want to know the repercussions, because there's a lot of them. But alas, let's keep going. Norn is, essentially... Well, I don't want to say she was rightfully pissed, but she is. Because a lot of people stopped doing what she told them to do. And Kiaru, after listening in on the door the whole time, hey, you dumb bitch, bursts through the door. And everybody starts and Norn and Hawkeye start making fun of him for what are you gonna do about it, healer? And then he holds up his now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure it's his right hand that has this weird eldritch super arm. And is it his right eye or his left eye? Because if it's his left eye, this motherfucker got the right arm and left hand of Vecna. Or right hand and left eye of Vecna. And this motherfucker is just murdering. I've been playing a lot of D&D recently. A lot of references. But nonetheless, he gets taunted, and then he immediately kills all the guards. Then he gets into maybe it's because I haven't been watching a ton of anime lately, but a pretty cool fight. A pretty cool fight with Hawkeye. There's a lot of close combat, there's a lot of trickery, where there's small things being thrown, and it's kind of a badass thing, where it's Hawkeye knows that he can't be, if he gets touched once, he's going to die. And Kiaru's unless he aims for the head, then he's not gonna die. It's essentially like Thanos versus everybody else, where unless you get him in the head, he's probably not going down. But nonetheless, Kiaru ends up winning because, hey, you didn't realize I had a debuff field around me that caused him to, a fucking zit. And then he just, out of existence. Then he goes up to Norn and says, hey, you are a fuckface. And then, bam, punch right to the gut. Knocks her out. First of all, you get punched in the gut, you get the wind knocked out of you. You don't pass out. Now, you're still awake enough to kick ass, but alright, fine. You're a small child who's been raised in luxury her entire life. You get to pass out because you're a weak-ass little bitch. So naturally, Kiaru then takes her down into a cellar where she screams for help, and if you see where this is going, congratulations, you've watched this series as well. What happens next is not the most fucked up thing that's happened in this series. I think cannibalism and forced hugging, as somebody in my comments has so happily put it, is a little bit worse than this. What happens is he says, you're going to play a game with me, and if you lose this game, you're going to be another one of my little pets. And she's like, another of your little pets? As he snaps his fingers, and she's still held up like this with her arms held up high. And in her like normal flare face, she's acting like a dog, has hearts in her eyes, and is essentially Papa's little sub in dog ears and tail. So, naturally, he says, you gotta survive playing with my dog. In which case, Norn, with her arms bound, is accosted by her sister, who is acting like a dog and starts getting very, very friendly. And this isn't one of those tags that I'm not okay with, but it's one of those ones that I don't seek out. And it's weird when there's a level of discomfort in it, but nonetheless, they start getting a little, Flare starts getting a little bit close, and Norn is not having fun, so naturally it leads into scene number 1, ranging from 12 minutes and 10 seconds to 15 minutes and 10 seconds, and a cool 3 minutes of forced incest between a mind-controlled person and a war criminal. Technically, two war criminals. 2 war criminals, one of them with mind control, the other one about to be mind controlled. And he said, after the ending of it, Kiaru says, hey, you lost, bitch. So you know what happens now? You committed genocide against an entire race and killed my friend. You know that guy, that you never met, that I was friends with, the hot merchant? Yeah, you killed him, and I'm not happy about that. So, hand in the face and says, heal, you are this, you are this, you are my little sister. That's fucked up. Why would you do that? Why is that the thing? Can you just say, she was somebody else's little sister, she was a merchant that gathered on, why is she your little sister? But nonetheless, that is now her identity. After erasing her memory, it's, the sword hero from before, I think it's Kaharu, shows up. You know the girl, white, across the entirety of her whole thing. She uses a sword a lot. She's a badass. Yes, she shows up again to see what's going on, because this city was fucked right up. And right after the single defeat, everything goes wrong. So now they've got the whole party together. The new pink-haired girl, the old pink-haired girl, the crazy fox psychopath, the I don't want to be involved, but also I really want to be involved demon prince, and the welcomed back white-haired fighter girl. How do you think harems usually start? Because they move right into scene number 2, lasting from 17 minutes to 17 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a full-fledged orgy. And I don't know how to feel about it, because, you know, it's one thing for somebody to be, like, happily participating in an orgy. It's a whole nother thing where they do that after committing a war crimes in the same episode, like within the same 15-minute span. Very conflicted boner, I will say. But nonetheless, it's then set of, they decide to leave. As they all start getting out of the town, Kiaru says, you know what I think they're going to do now that their sword hero, their healing hero, and their magic hero are gone, they're going to send their last hero after the person who killed them all. Oh, so Bullet's coming for us. You remember Bullet? The guy who was a major rapist and a horrible person. I have so much worse of a problem with him than I do with everybody else. Mostly because he's a psychopath. And he's the only one that uses a sci-fi weapon in a fantasy setting, which is also weird, but not nearly the reason I don't like him. So, he gets sent after Kyaru in a little bit of an off-screen sort of thing, as they purchase a new raptor because their party's getting really big and it's kind of hard to make that animal work as hard as it is. And there's kind of a thing where it's like one of them's a guy, one of them's a girl, they start nudging against each other. I'm like, aw, you guys don't know that so many people you're carrying are war criminals. And Kyaru then goes and visits the shopkeeper's grave, just to rub salt in the wound of one of the only character that I liked, just to show off that he's dead. As he's walking back, naturally, the bar patrons from the previous episodes, the human guy and the orc, they meet up with him and they throw him a bag. They're like, this is our way of saying thank you. We didn't think that we were going to survive that. And he's like, oh, cool. And he has this little upbeat moment where he's like, I actually did a good job helping these people. And I actually do care about some of the people that I'm with. I really don't want to lose them. And then he thinks about Bullet, and then he's pissed. And he's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find that Philosopher's Stone that I had in the beginning that caused me to turn back time this entire way, and then I'm going to kill that fucking gun-wielding asshole. As it then cuts to said gun-wielding asshole, who then steps into his room, and there is a wall of wanted posters, all with Kyaru's face on it, his old face. As Bullet, it's a season finale episode. He jerks off to all those different pictures as he talks about how young and pure he was. God damn, I want this guy dead. Season 2, please come here so I can see his death. But nonetheless, after getting himself off, it then cuts back to Kyaru, who then reminisces about, I have so much ambition. And then he starts taking stock of everything. Prodigy Wolf Warrior, one of the greatest swordsmen in the world, a magic-wielding prodigy hero. Oh, a strategetic mind that is now currently my little sister. Why did you make her your little sister? And an upcoming demon king. And he thinks, I think I'm gonna do just fine. As it then slowly fades, and then the credits start to roll for Season 1 of the entirety of the show. So, thoughts on the final episode? This was a very fitting end. It mixes ambition with a horrible person you really want to see die, and a harem to a person you really feel like shouldn't have a harem. Pretty good staples across the entirety of the show. I feel like I should do an entire series recap, because this video is already at somewhere around 13 minutes long, and I don't want to push it any further. But nonetheless, this final episode for Season 1 did do what I felt like it should do. It was the last little bit of horribleness that needed to happen to a character that deserved horribleness. And the more you start to look at this, the more you start to think of if you think about it, he is doing good, but he's doing good in horrible ways. He didn't need to do all the crazy shit that he did, but his actions are leading to better outcomes that would have happened if he didn't. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because most of it is bad feelings, but the rest of it is logical feelings. Nonetheless, I'm very concerned for why I'm thinking this hard about a show. You should probably just forget about the second it ends, and I'm going to go ahead and call it right there. This has been an amazing ride getting through an entire actual anime, which is weird to say. Nonetheless, it was fun to do, and I'm glad I could be around. I could be here to stick through the entirety of it. I don't know what I'm going to be replacing this time slot with. I might go into another long series and then continue on until I finish Black Bible, which will be my next episode coming out. And then I don't know what I'm going to do from there. I have a list of ones that I need to review, but most of them really don't have any more than one episode. I might start Manakitsu Happening again, since my first video is kind of outdated and really doesn't have much going for it, since I wasn't really taking them episode by episode, trying to show off what could have been said, but alright, I think I've got a good schedule set out. Thank y'all for being here. This has been a wild ride, and I'm happy we could make it all the way to the end. And so, let's end it here for tonight. Thank y'all for being here. Don't be a dick, there's too many of them. And wash your fucking hands. I've been the Doctor. Peace.